what you're thinking. Tell me just what's on your mind. What you drinking? Is that whiskey on
Los Angeles, what is up? Welcome back to episode 8 of the Showtime Forum podcast, and I am your host, Rey Audel, and with me once again is Mr. Audel del Toro. What up, bro, Chacho?
What up, man? Same old, same old?
Same old, same old? Well, I shouldn't say same old, but yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing pretty good.
It's good.
Yeah. For those of you guys who are not following us out, don't forget to. You can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And joining us today to review this past week's most recent Laker drama is Showtime's very own Javier Hernandez. What is up?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going good, man. You ready or what?
Oh, man, I'm ready. Let's go.
Are you guys ready to hand me my ass, as you guys said earlier today?
We've been ready, man.
Oh, good. I'm glad, man. You got plenty of backup today. So.
Oh.
This episode is a little different because we're not starting off on a sour note like we've been for the last few weeks. We actually have a little bit of positivity to report, and it looks like the Lakers are finally starting to trend upward. It's a small, gradual increase, but it's upward nonetheless, right? So within the past week, if you guys have kind of been like hiding under a rock, the Lakers have finally filled that head coaching void with Frank Vogel. They filled their assistant lead, or their lead assistant, I should say, with Jason Kidd, and got a little stroke of luck yesterday in the NBA draft when they improved their draft position to number 4. But now, where do the Lakers go from here?
Well, we finally got a coach, so that's step one. Frank Vogel, he's solid. He's a defensive coach. Couldn't do any better than that at that point. And at this point now, we need to get a president of basketball operations to fill that need. I mean, at this point, Rambis is the PBO, the shadow guy, I guess. But we need to get one of those guys to fill that spot.
Well, so is he the shadow PBO? Because didn't Jesse Buss put up a interesting little Instagram post today? A little story where he had a picture of his, looks like an office seat, and it said interviews on it, right? And it was just an empty seat. So who are they interviewing right now?
I mean, I think we're interviewing guys for the draft, man. First and foremost, I mean, that was huge for us. I mean, 4th pick, we all expected 11th. I was on board for Bowl. You know, turns out that we're in a position where we could get guys like, possibly RJ Barrett, of course, if the Knicks don't pick him. Yeah. Other guys, I mean, that can do a lot of big stuff. I mean, Hunter, Garland, Culver, among others. So, I mean, for us to have such little percentage to get into that top 4, that's definitely a bright spot for the LA Lakers, something that we've been looking for here in the past months, I should say.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and the biggest thing I think that happened yesterday, aside from the Lakers moving up to number 4, was the fact that the New Orleans Pelicans actually snagged the number 1 spot and looked like they're set to draft Zion Williamson. So that right there in itself is a huge thing. But I don't know how that's going to implicate the Lakers.
Yeah, well, that gives the Pelicans the number 1 spot, which is Zion Williamson, and the Lakers getting the number 4 pick. It does give them another asset for them to try to trade for Anthony Davis. I don't know if the Pelicans will be interested in that number 4 pick or not. They might be interested in the number 3 pick with the Knicks. But if Anthony Davis hasn't changed his stance like Shams has reported, then the Lakers still have a shot at getting him. And look, the Lakers have the best package still. I'm not being biased at all, but you can have any of the young guys, the number 4 pick, and you get Anthony Davis. Now, the Knicks are going to give you Knox, Mitchell Robinson, the number 3 pick. Yeah, RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson is kind of an interesting thing to kind of put them back together. But I don't think Boston's going to give up Tatum, especially if Kyrie leaves. So I still think the Lakers have the best package to go to New Orleans for Anthony Davis.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it should really implicate the Lakers all that much. Yeah, they got Zion Williamson, and I know the rumor is now that maybe AD is going to want to stay. Maybe he does. Maybe once, Zion suits up and this dude sees him jump through our freaking orbit, maybe Anthony Davis all of a sudden says, oh, you know what? Maybe I need to reconsider. But I don't think it should really implicate the Lakers all that much just because of everything that went on this season. I mean, with that trade scenario earlier this year with AD where everything kind of leaked out and it kind of just broke up the locker room and whatnot. I mean, if they didn't learn their lesson from that, I don't know how else they can learn their lesson. I think if they make a major push again, at least publicly, to acquire Anthony Davis, then it might have the same implications, and it might actually affect the locker room again. I know we've kind of gone past that, but I wouldn't put it past this front office to go ahead and make a big push now for Anthony Davis and go and put all their cards into the middle of the table and whatnot. I honestly don't think it should. It definitely should. At this point, I think if anything, maybe the Lakers just need to put an offer on the table and just kind of go about their business. And I know we had this whole discussion earlier today about who do you put on the table and whatnot, but I think you have to put a reasonable offer on the table and just kind of go from there. And like I said, you can't sit here and put your eggs into the entire Anthony Davis basket once again. We've already seen what happens with that, and I don't think the front office can really pull off a deal like that quietly, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Before Javi gets his point in, can you let the world know what your reasonable offer was for Anthony Davis, please?
Definitely. So the reasonable offer that I said we should put on the table is one of our 3 core guys, which would be Zoe, Kuz, and Ingram. Mm-hmm. One of those 3 guys, one of either Mo Wagner or Josh Hart, the number 4 pick, and a future first rounder or 2. I mean, honestly, if we give up a 2021 or 2022 first rounder, it's not going to really matter, especially if we have the team that we're kind of assuming we're going to have in those years, right? So it'll probably be a lower end draft pick, lower end first round draft.
That deal is barely going to get you Alfred Payton.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean,
you're overvaluing Alfred Payton, bro.
I mean, as far as that goes, you gotta keep in mind. I mean, you can't go into a Mercedes dealership, with Toyota Prius money. I mean, you can't do it. You just can't go and offer. First and foremost, we already offered the farm last season. Even with veterans included, Rondo, Lance, whatever you want to go ahead and throw in. Now, we're going to start negotiations again. Obviously, there's somebody else in charge now with David Griffin, who I think can hold his own, and I think they're going to give him the keys to make that decision that he needs to. So we need to start this not with 1, because that's not going to get us anywhere. We do have a 4th pick. I don't know how valuable the Pelicans are seeing that pick, but we got to start with 2. We got to start with rather Lonzo and Ingram and the pick, maybe throw in Hart in there and a couple of other assets. But, my thing here is they're not going to want 2, but that's where we got to start. What's going to be happening here is if we do have a hush-hush deal with, let's say, Kawhi or Kyrie, and there's a chance that we can pair AD with LeBron and Kyrie or Kawhi, then at that point you give them whatever they want because you have a big 3, and that's something that's going to set us up for the future. And starting now.
I mean, that's fine, but let's go back to your Prius Benz analogy. So, what if you were going to a Benz dealership? What Benz are you buying, Javi?
Anthony Davis. That's the Benz I'm looking for.
All right, so the CLAD, got it. Yeah. So let's say this CLAD is running 60, 70 grand. Let's say 70 grand, just for argument's sake, right? So you're telling me that if you're going to go into a dealership and you want to purchase this 70K Mercedes-Benz, you're going to head to the dealer, test drive it. You're going to sit down with the salesman, and you're going to go ahead and say, okay, I want to buy this for 70K. That's what you would do in a dealership.
Absolutely not. But see, we've already tried that. We've already offered that deal. A different representative doesn't matter because at the same time, you already spoke to the manager. The manager's already told you the price, and he said no before. Mm-hmm. So if he said no before, why are you going to come with a cheaper offer? What is that going to do for you moving forward? You got to put something on the table. Now you have the 4th pick, which is another asset. But you got to push for more, man. You can't just stick with the same guns. At this point, Anthony Davis is something we do need, especially if we don't see anybody coming. But we got to offer them something that's going to at least interest them. We can't start off with something that's going to be a no. Why even waste our time?
Because that's how you start a negotiation, bro. That's exactly how you start a negotiation. There's no way you go in there with the actual price tag on there. And you know what? At this point, we're actually up against the clock. So we would actually be getting let's say a 2020 Mercedes-Benz right when the 2021 models are coming up. And if you know anything about dealerships, when those new models start to come up, all of a sudden they're a little bit more flexible with those. One, when we actually put that offer on the table about the trade deadline, we did not have a number 4 pick. At that point, we were projected to probably have an outside, maybe a lower end lottery pick, right? So now we got number 4 pick, which is great, right? So at that point, that's fine. But you cannot go into a dealership and say, hey, this car is $70K. I'm going to go ahead and get it for $70K. If you're pushing like you say you are, I'm wondering who you're pushing for, because if I'm the Lakers,
is that
I'm not
already offered something. I see what you get, where you say, let's go in and, start negotiations low. But we've already tried that. That's what last season was. I mean, if Audel wants to touch a little bit on this, Audel, what do you think in regards to this situation here?
Well, we already went into the Mercedes dealership and
hold on, before we let Audel back into this, I'm not going to let you tag him in real quick and double team me. So what I was saying is you cannot go into this negotiation with your best offer, because you have no wiggle room to improve that offer. You go in there, you say, hey, here's the farm, and they come back and they say, no thanks. What are you doing at that point? What are you going to do at that point? You got nothing else to offer, and the leverage is completely out of your. What you do is you go ahead, you put this offer on the table. Obviously, it's not going to be the deal the Pelicans take, but if you listen to David Griffin prior to him taking this position with the Pelicans, he said if it was him, he would have taken a bona fide not bona fide, but a budding superstar. He would take I don't know if it was an all-star reserve or something along the line, a prime time reserve, I guess you could say, the number 4 pick, and then whatever else. So I don't understand why you know what this guy's mentality is, and he negotiates in the shadows. He's not going to be that guy that's going to be public, right? So you've already got enough information from him prior to him joining the Pelicans. So why would you go in with all of your chips? There's no point to that. If the Pelicans come back and say, hey, we're not going to do that deal, fine. You can come back and you can give up 2 of the core guys if you'd like at that point. But me personally, I do not ship out 3 of the guys unless absolutely necessary. And honestly, to me, the problem with this is the fact that we are going down the same path again. We're going down the same path where we're going to go all in on Anthony Davis. This is going to go public, and then we're going to ruin this season from the get-go, not even from the trade deadline.
But you said you wouldn't even ship out 2 of the guys.
I did say I would ship out 2 of the guys if you would have read correctly, because that's what I said to you guys.
No, you said 1.
Hey, earlier today you said you would bet your house, you'd bet your car, and you'd bet your soul if Zion Williamson were to push for a trade, right?
Yeah.
So are you willing to put that same thing up if I go ahead and flash the screenshots from today's conversation? Because that's exactly what I was telling you guys. You guys didn't listen to what I was saying. You start off a negotiation with a lower median. They want 3 guys. You meet in the middle. You just meet in the middle.
Right? I understand what you say about starting negotiations, but we've already had those negotiations. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're coming to the Pelicans with a fresh new deal or anything. We still have the same mix of players, just that now we have the number 4 pick. If they already didn't take Lonzo, Ingram, Josh Hart, Kuzma, what are we doing saying, okay, you can take 1 and then the 4th pick? If they already wanted more than that, why are we going to backtrack? How about this? The Knicks offer them who they want, and we're over here offering 1 player. David Griffin's insulted and he takes the Knicks offer like that. We need to make sure that we come in, not with the strongest offer, obviously, but we got to do at least 2 of the guys, and then we got to put in the 4th pick, Josh Hart, whatever else, and then we'll work from there. We can't start off lower than what they already rejected. It's just wasting time for both sides and putting us at risk of the Knicks or Boston putting a better offer on the table.
And don't forget, he wants to add Wagner and Bonga in the deal. That's a deal breaker for me.
Well, you guys laugh, but if you go ahead and give him 2 of the 3 guys and you give him everybody else, you're actually giving them 5 to 6 first-round picks, because Josh Hart, Kuzma, Zoe, all first-round picks.
You can't look at it that way.
You can definitely look at it that way. You got 3 first-round picks there. Because at this point, if they agree to it, they're taking these guys, right? You got 3 first-round picks there. You got Mo Wagner, who's another first-round pick. You have a number 4 pick, which is another number 1 pick. And if you want to give them 1 or 2 future first-round picks, you're talking about 5 or 6 number 1 picks. Who is Boston giving up that's better than that at this point? You can tell me Jason Tatum and some throw-ins? Who else?
This guy's super young. Let's not act like he's a throwaway now it's no good for an asset. I mean, Jason Tatum is going to grow just like Brandon Ingram is having to grow. Brandon Ingram isn't, let's say, somewhere so above head and shoulders about Tatum. And don't forget, Brandon Ingram is the one guy that David Griffin really wanted. Guess what? Damaged goods now because he had a blood clot. We cannot just come back and say, well, if you didn't want Brandon Ingram last season, do you want him now with a blood clot? And they're going to say yes. I mean, obviously he's working past those issues, but we can't just go back. It's even worse now. We have to put everything on the table. And again, remember, we're not just focusing here on AD. It's not just going to be LeBron and AD. We're banking that if we throw the farm, we get a superstar. If no superstar is coming, then no, I don't throw everybody for AD. But if we have a hush-hush deal, there's no way you don't pair up Kyrie or Kawhi with LeBron and AD. You have to give them whoever they want at that point if we have somebody coming.
If you're giving up that deal, you're giving up that deal at the trade deadline next season. That's the deal you get. That's the deal you make. Because at this point, the only thing that's helping the Lakers right now is that the Pelicans are running out of time. They should have moved AD last season when they were able to. At this point, that relationship is severed, and the only thing you're telling me right now is that a number 1 draft pick who doesn't even have an agent yet and might actually force a trade out, supposedly, is the only thing that the New Orleans Pelicans are banking on right now. That makes no. That makes.
He's gonna force a trade. What do you think, Audel?
No, he's not gonna force a trade. Zion is not. He's gonna go to New Orleans. It's just not happening. It's just not happening.
Well, you got your car, you got your house, and your soul on the
I mean, he's
on the line right now.
Number 1 pick, all the money all the guaranteed money in the shoe deal. If he goes back to Duke or he went overseas and something, he can get hurt. And what's the point of that? You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna be the number 1 pick anymore. So it's a lot of. I don't think
it's money, man. A lot of deals that you're going to leave on the table. He's not going to risk it. New Orleans isn't that bad. Let's not act like he's, somewhere outcasted in a city that nobody cares about. Yeah, of course, New Orleans, as far as market size, isn't the biggest. Might be down.
It's actually the smallest in the league.
Bottom line in the league. But let's not forget, it's Zion Williamson. How many tickets did they sell already? I believe it was about 3,000 season tickets already the day after. I mean, Zion's going to bring in those numbers. Whether he's there, whether he's in New York, in LA, it doesn't matter. So he's not going to risk that. And Zion's not going to leave, and threaten anybody and say, I'm going to go back to Duke. He's going to New Orleans, and that's going to be a good thing for him. Giannis made it work in Milwaukee. Why can't Zion make it work there?
Yeah, I saw a clip today on NBA TV of David Griffin where he's talking about the trade that the Lakers were offering to New Orleans during that time when Griffin was working for NBA TV. And he said that Godfather offer is going to be there come this summer, and they're going to be expecting it. So Griffin is now the GM or the PBO. So you don't think he's going to be expecting that Godfather offer? If you give him one guy, going back to that, if you give him one guy out of those 3 and you start the negotiation that way, he's going to laugh and say, next, New York, Boston. And then you call him back and say, okay, I'm going to give you 2 of them. Mm-hmm. That's the beginning of a negotiation. If he ends up wanting all 3, it's something the Lakers have to think about.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Would you prefer to give him all 3? If it's your your preference, you're saying, if I had the choice, I'm going to give him all 3, rather than 2.
At this point, I would. And only because pairing Anthony Davis with LeBron James, you're still left with that salary where you can sign a max free agent. So
you're not. You're not. You actually have to sign a free agent first before you trade for
Anthony Davis is under contract for 1 more year. So he goes under your books and you're able to have that extra salary. You're going to have a whole cap where you can still sign a max free agent. You're still going to have that money because you're getting rid of all that salary, which is Kuzma, Ingram, and you got to have salary fillers to fill up that $27 million or whatever it is. So you're still going to have that salary cap available.
I'm gonna have to look through this real quick, but I'm pretty sure you have to actually sign the free agent first because you wouldn't be able to bring in a max guy because I think you only get left like 23 or 24 mil if you bring in Anthony Davis first, even with the outgoing salary. But I'll look into that right now. But I mean, my issue with going all in firsthand is the fact that there is no middle ground. You cannot go. Dude, anybody who goes into a negotiation with no middle ground is going to get screwed. Anybody, dude, in whatever negotiation you're in. I'm not saying that this can't end up in 3 core guys going out the door, but if you're negotiating, you don't go in with 3 guys. It doesn't matter if we offered that before. We also didn't have David Griffin. We also didn't have David Griffin running these negotiations for them, right? I believe the last guy got fired, right? Because of everything that kind of went down with the Lakers. So, and at this point, the Pelicans might not even make a deal just based off of the owner's problem with the Lakers at this point.
The thing is, if say you have a Michael Jordan rookie card, right? And I offered you a trade, and I said I'll give you a Dominique Wilkins and a Spud Webb rookie and a Kobe rookie card for that Michael Jordan, which is worth $2,600. That's what I offered you, right? Those 3 cards, and then you said no, I don't want it. Let me think about it, and then a week later or a month later, I come back and say, you know what? I want to give you the Spud Webb rookie for the Michael Jordan. You're going to say, what? You offered me 3 of those cards. You only offered me 1 now?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm like, yeah, I am.
They're going to think you're nuts. They're going to think you're crazy.
You're not, dude. Look, let's go back to your car dealership. Let's go to the car dealership. Let's go to the Showtime Forum car dealership, right? We're sitting here with our salesman, Mr. Greg Bergman, right? And he's trying to pitch us on this freaking car, this 70K car. Now, if you know that the new models are coming out next month, then you should know that this dealership is going to try to ship out as many of these cars prior to that. Because once those new models come out, they actually start to drop the price on all those models. Right now, this is what's happening. If the Pelicans were to happen to just wait to the trade deadline, dude, these offers would get worse unless some random squad comes in and just throws the farm at them for some ungodly reason. But that's not going to ensure that Anthony Davis stays with them. No one's going to do that unless Anthony Davis commits. And that would mean Anthony Davis would actually have to say, I'm going there, and I'm going to stay there, and I'm going to sign with you. There's no way. There's no way that happens, man. There's no way.
You would risk losing Anthony Davis by offering something so insulting to David Griffin that we know he's already not going to take.
You know what? At that point, that's David Griffin's problem, bro. Because if he thinks that offer's insulting,
our problem.
You know what?
They're superstar with LeBron.
That sounds like a prideful thing.
But you know what? If we don't get AD, it's fine, dude. You guys are acting like AD is like the freaking answer to everything. How many? I'm sorry. How many second round visits does Anthony Davis have in his career?
It's not about his personal accomplishments.
No, just answer the question. How many?
Has he ever had LeBron next to him? Answer
How
to that
many?
question.
How many?
Has he ever had LeBron next to him?
How many? But we're not trading for Anthony Davis and LeBron.
Okay,
We're trading for Anthony.
Let's go ahead and do it that way,
you guys
right?
constantly say that I go and change the subject when I don't want to answer a question.
Davis, okay.
Okay, zero. And what? Jimmy Butler has zero.
Yeah.
Everyone else has zero. Kemba has zero.
Before this, how many times did Giannis go to the Eastern Conference Finals? I mean, come on, we can't play that game. I mean, you have to,
because we're not trading for Giannis. It doesn't matter. You can do that. If we're trading for Giannis at that point, I'm saying the same thing.
So you don't think Anthony Davis is worth bringing to the? You don't think he's a bona fide superstar, a generational talent,
yes.
a superstar, legitimate superstar in this league? You don't think he's worth trading?
I definitely do. I definitely do think he is. Now
let's go back to the dealership, though.
Okay.
Let's go back to the dealership. And there's a limited edition. Only 4 of these Mercedes-Benz in the whole world. China has one, we have one, and Europe has the other 2. You're not willing to pay extra for that limited edition Mercedes-Benz over the 2021 Mercedes coming out?
Are the new models still coming out next month?
Yes. But you're going to get the one that came out this last year. That's limited edition. Only 4 in the world. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis is limited edition. There's not many guys like him. He's let
me ask you this, Ray.
Hold on. Let me answer. Hold on. Let me answer Audel first, and then I'll get to you. So my question is, if the new models come out next month, why are the 4 still there?
Because they're a lot of money. They cost a lot, which is it's going to cost the Lakers a lot.
So what do you think is going to happen to those 4 once the newer models come out? They're going to drop.
No, eventually someone's going to pay the price. Eventually someone's going to pay the price, which is Boston and New York.
But nobody.
Come on.
But that's what I'm saying, though. If we go down that route, we're doing the same exact thing again. We're going all in on Anthony Davis. It's going to become public. And if we don't end up getting Anthony Davis anyway, like a lot of people think might happen just because of the problem that the Pelicans owner has with the Lakers, then what do? Now we have a fractured lineup for a whole season. And now you have to ship him out. You're going to have to make a deal at that point. You're going to have to. And guess what? The league is watching. And if the league sees this plays out this way, guess what they think? I'm going to go ahead and swoop in and grab one of these guys. I wouldn't, honestly, if these guys said, hey, we want the whole farm, I'd rather go out there and ship one of these guys out with the pick and get Bradley Beal. I'd rather do that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Audel, I mean, Bradley Beal's a good talent, but he's no Anthony Davis. Come on. I mean, you want to talk about Bradley Beal? How many second-round exits has he had? I mean, how many times has he gotten anywhere far in his career? I mean, look at his history as well. I mean, why trade for somebody like Bradley Beal when we potentially could for Anthony Davis? I mean, why are we going to downgrade to something that's less than what we're looking for? I mean, Bradley Beal and LeBron aren't going to get it done. Again, what me and Audel have been saying is we only throw the farm if we know another free agent is coming. If not, you only throw 2 out of the 3 of the young core between Lonzo, Ingram, and Kuzma. You do 2 and then the pick and whatever else they want. But if no free agent is coming, you do not throw everybody and the 4th pick for Anthony Davis. That's what me and Audel have been saying. We haven't been saying throw the farm just to throw the farm. That's only if a free agent is coming.
Exactly what you guys said. You said you cannot insult the Pelicans by offering them one guy. To your apparently to you guys think 2 guys is an insult. Two of the
No.
core guys plus
Two
everybody
is
else
two is
an
right.
insult.
One is an insult. You want to give them one guy,
Two-
Wagner, Bonga, Caruso, and Byron Scott.
I want to start negotiations off with one guy so we can try to meet in the middle with two guys. Don't
And
split
then
the
they're gonna
words
say
around.
bye.
Past that. We're past that since
Then I say deuces because you know who's got the power here? Anthony Davis. Anthony
and
Davis has the
that's your
power.
pride. That's your pride talking. You're saying, dude,
Maybe.
you gotta stay there and you gotta negotiate right in good faith
Why?
this time.
I don't think that Anthony Davis is the end all if we don't get him. You guys do. You guys think
no.
you guys are acting like Anthony Davis is going to be the freaking
That is all
like
we're
Messiah.
That's not
He's
the
not.
case. That's not the case. It's just that it just so happens that Anthony Davis wants to be a Laker.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, then you got to do what you got to do to get him in LA. The rest you can figure out. Whether it's you bring in Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris to team up with Anthony Davis and LeBron or Kemba Walker, whoever it is, you have to figure that out later on. If Anthony Davis wants to be a Laker, then you got to get him to LA.
Okay. But you don't start off the negotiations with three guys on the table, though.
You can't
still
start off with
don't.
one
It's a
either, though.
negotiation, man.
You can't start off with. We already went to 4 guys, 5 guys.
Yeah.
So what? It doesn't matter, dude.
We're gonna go back and
two
say we
reasons.
want one.
Number 4 pick.
Time.
Let's go revisit this. Number 4 pick, and they are deeper into the clock now. Those are 2 reasons why you play your leverage. The leverage the Lakers have is that right now. Brandon Ingram might have had the blood clot, but from everything that I've read online, he had a blood clot, and yes, it's the same type of blood clot that Chris Bosh had. But from what I've been reading online, the placement of the blood clot actually does not make it as severe as Chris Bosh's. So let's say we don't move on. Let's say they don't move Anthony Davis. And now here we are up against the trade deadline. And Brandon Ingram's been playing and he's been balling out of his mind. What do you do then?
Well, you keep him.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, at that point, yeah.
If he's balling out of his mind, he's an all-star. You keep him.
Okay, so if the Pelicans come back and say, "Hey, we want the same deal you guys are talking about." You guys make that deal?
Oh, don't get it twisted. If that trade doesn't happen by this offseason, it's not happening at the trade deadline either. It's over.
I agree.
It's now or never. It's now or never.
So at the trade deadline, we don't make a move at all then. So you're saying
we could make one, but Anthony Davis, that's over with. If we don't make it this offseason, it's over. We're going to move on, and we're going to build our team the way we have to build it and bring in whoever we bring in.
Hold on, so I'm confused. So is it over, or
If
are
we
you
bring
going to
Anthony
revisit
Davis
it?
this summer, we don't revisit it in the trade deadline.
Don't.
Not the trade
done.
deadline. We're not gonna risk, starting the season good and then ruin it all again. And you got to remember, at this point, the Pelicans, they've already dealt enough. Alvin Gentry and everybody in that organization has said this is the biggest nightmare I've ever had, in basketball. They're not going to wait from now until February just to live that nightmare again. AD getting booed, getting fined $50,000 for tampering there with the Rich Paul statement. Nightly fighting the NBA. Should AD play? Should they not? It's going to happen this summer. Whether it's the Knicks, the Lakers, or it's going to be Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But this is done by that time. And
Yep.
if for whatever reason it would extend to February, we are not going to revisit it. And there's no point in doing so because at that point, I mean, a lot of people are already kind of over it. I mean, by February, we're rolling with what we have. And hopefully that's with another free agent. Let's not forget.
So you're telling me if the Pelicans engage the Lakers at the trade deadline, we're going to just leave it there?
By that time, we're not even going to have half the players that we offered. I'll tell you that. Because whatever happens this summer, if we don't get Anthony Davis, then they're going to move on to free agent A, B, and C. Okay. And they might even trade Ingram, Lonzo, or whoever it is to bring in other guys because we're going to move on and build a roster the way we have to without Anthony Davis.
I agree. So if we go, and that's what I'm saying, if AD doesn't pan out, I have no problem shipping out, let's say Brandon Ingram in the number 4 pick. You ship him out for Bradley Beal. Now you're plugging in a lineup of what? Zoe, Bradley Beal. Let's say you snag Kawhi. Now you're lining it up Kawhi with LeBron, with whoever we line up at the 5. With Bradley Beal, Zoe, and you still got Kuz coming off the bench. And I'm assuming at this point you've signed shooters. Is that a bad squad? Because I honestly think that squad competes with Golden State as is right now without KD. It definitely, without Boogie and without KD, that squad right there pushes Golden State to the brink. At least.
That's a good squad, and that's great. We'll go with that squad. But if Anthony Davis is not had, then that's cool. We'll go with that. But right now, we're still trying to get Anthony Davis for whatever we have to give out to New Orleans.
Then that's what I'm saying. I don't. I don't. I mean, unless it's absolutely necessary at the final minute, and that's what you need to do. Unless you got that deal already, that hush-hush deal in place, I get that, but you cannot start the negotiation. It's like we're having two different arguments here. I'm sitting here saying that the way you start off the negotiating cannot be with the three guys. You got to kind of have to move towards that point. And ideally,
Yeah, you start with 2, not with 1.
Okay, and they say 3, so where do you meet? Where's the middle? You're going to send 2.5 players out there?
Middle is 2. The middle is 2.
Middle is 2.
It can't be 2 if you go in there. If you go in there with 2 and they come back with 3,
no way.
That's not the middle.
Look,
2.5 is the middle.
You know, I know, Audel knows, the whole world knows. If we say, hey, David Griffin, take one of the players, and it stops there. You're not going to finish the sentence. That's it. And you may not even get a call back because you're insulting the Pelicans. Let's just say this. Look, 2 players. That's a starting point, and that's a starting point because now we have a pick. Again, we have a good pick, but we don't know how valuable that is to the Pelicans. So we have to start there. But again, remember, we only throw the farm if we know another free agent is coming. That's the only time me and Audel has said we do it. If not, 2 is the max, and if the Pels don't want to, well,
then
guess
you say
what?
peace.
Go with the squad, and then you say peace.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if you guys say so, but I don't know, man. I would have to definitely say I'm not moving off of 2 or 3 guys unless absolutely necessary. But like I said, I don't start the negotiations with all in. It doesn't matter if we've done this already before or not. You got different circumstances, different time frame. It doesn't really matter at this point.
Offering offering them one guy
as a starting point
would be an insult. It would be kind of like offering Ty Lue a 3-year contract. So Laker to do that.
Yeah, actually not far-fetched, Ray.
You just compared Ty Lue to Anthony Davis?
I'm comparing the Lakers' way of offering deals.
But
that's insulting.
But we're talking about Anthony Davis here. If we're talking about Greg Popovich,
it's a synonym or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, you can, but it has to be comparable. There's no way you're gonna tell me Ty Lue equates to Anthony Davis.
I'm just saying it's just kind of comparing how it would be an insult of giving one guy to New Orleans for Anthony Davis as opposed to giving Ty Lue a 3-year contract instead of giving him 4 or 5.
I get what you're saying, but the comp is still not there. You can't say Ty Lue is Anthony Davis. Put in Greg Popovich, and then we're talking.
I'm just talking, bro. It's not that.
No.
Not that serious.
All talking, bro. It's a podcast. Hey, man, you guys said you wanted it, right?
Hey, good stuff.
It was good. It's good.
All right, so moving on to the next. I think we've exhausted this topic as is. So Let's go ahead and move on to if the Lakers happen to just keep that pick and they don't trade it away. Who are we looking at as far as possibilities?
I like Darius Garland, the point guard. I think he's the best player available. Obviously, R.J. Barrett would be amazing, but I don't know if the Knicks will pass on him. And Ja Morant, obviously, he's going to get the number 2 pick. So Garland would be my top choice. And then I know there's Hunter and Cam Reddish, but Garland is Dame Lillard, Steph Curry-ish. That's my guy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Garland or Culver for me. I mean, from what I've seen, those are 2 guys that can bring it. I mean, Garland, based on what I've seen, basically, he didn't entirely finish out the. Give me a sec. Let me turn on the lights. Sorry, it just went out on me.
Oh, damn.
Turn off the lights.
I would take Garland or Culver. I mean, for what I've seen, those guys can bring it. I mean, Garland, as Audel said, and he touched on it, he does remind me of Steph Curry, Damian Lillard. I mean, but as far as Culver goes, Paul George. Paul George is what I see in him. Mid-range game is there.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I personally don't really care because I don't think I don't think that pick sees the light of day regardless.
Yeah,
so don't
let's
really
call
care.
David Griffin and see who he wants.
At that point, yeah. I mean, you might as well. That would be a lot more beneficial than sitting here racking our brain over who we're going to draft and how they're going to fit in. That would be asinine for us to go and get younger after last season, right?
Hey, let's hope the Knicks nick, and maybe we can have a shot at R.J. Barrett, then things will change a little bit.
Well, you know what? I think our boy Ben actually brought up a good point. He was saying that he would actually like for them to trade back into the draft, right? And swap with the number 8, number 10 picks with Atlanta. Mm-hmm. That actually, to me, would make probably a little bit more sense. But I mean, like I said, I don't think that draft pick is ever going to see the light of day. It's never going to suit up in a purple and gold. So I don't really care, to be honest.
I agree.
It's true.
Oh, man. All right. So I think this is a good point to go ahead and wrap this up right now. I want to go ahead and thank all the listeners. If you're listening still, I don't know, with all the back and forth we had going on, I wouldn't even blame you guys if you guys just tuned out at this point. But, if you still are listening, we appreciate it. Just go ahead and make sure that you're supporting the podcast, you're supporting the platform. Go ahead and subscribe, review, share, whatever you can. If you want to go ahead and donate, feel free to donate if you can. But just to remind everybody, the podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, YouTube, pretty much any major streaming platform. We're there. If you want to follow Showtime Forum, we're on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on YouTube, Facebook. We're on all that. So go ahead and make sure you click the subscribe button, you follow button, whatever it is that's on there. But just make sure you support. All right, it's time consuming. We love it. We do it for you guys. That whole spiel that I do every single week, we definitely do. And as much as I'm kind of trying to wrap this up right now, it is definitely authentic. We definitely appreciate you guys. We definitely do spend a lot of time, especially Golden Knight. Golden Knight spends a crap load of his time just getting these dope graphics you guys see on our platforms. So make sure you guys check those out. Click like, share those things with your friend. Do whatever you got to do. All right. And if you want to follow Mr. Golden Knight, you can follow him at Golden Knight GFX. That's on Twitter and Instagram, right?
Yep.
All right, for sure. But like I said, guys, don't forget to subscribe, share, review. We'll catch you guys next week. We out.
Peace.